so we just thought we would sand it down and reshoot it.
Okay, so we're giving a guy a repaint. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're just repainting it, and then he's got the, we're throwing his graphics on there and everything.
Graphics. We got graphics going on?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
One phone call changed everything for Danny Koker, and his voice still cracks whenever the subject comes up. The Count's Kustoms family has buried more than just time and money into their builds. They've buried friends, brothers, and irreplaceable pillars of the shop floor. But which crew member's sudden death left the entire Las Vegas car community speechless? And whose tragic passing happened so quietly that even die-hard fans completely missed it? Join us as we remember the Counting Cars cast members who passed away. Roli Sabo. His thick Hungarian accent and infectious energy made him a fan favorite almost instantly. Originally from Hungary, this detail specialist appeared in 4 episodes between 2013 and 2014, handling paint correction and cosmetic restoration, the final delicate touches that made Count's Kustoms builds gleam under showroom lights. He wasn't a mechanic or fabricator by trade, but his eye for perfection turned good paint jobs into award-winning finishes. His light-hearted antics provided comic relief that balanced out the shop's more intense personalities, and viewers responded warmly to his unpolished, genuine enthusiasm for automotive culture. Before joining the show, he had already carved out a place in the Las Vegas automotive scene through sheer hustle and word-of-mouth reputation. His detailing business, Rock & Roli Custom Detailing, built a loyal clientele who appreciated both his technical skill and his magnetic, high-energy personality. The Counting Cars appearances gave him a brief taste of television exposure and introduced him to a broader audience of car enthusiasts who admired his dedication to the craft. Despite the allure of reality TV fame, he remained grounded in the actual work. In 2019, he traveled to Quebec, Canada, for advanced technical training. This move demonstrated his serious, long-term commitment to mastering the detailing trade beyond any temporary television persona. He wanted to be known as a master of his craft, not just a colorful character on a History Channel show. The COVID-19 pandemic devastated his business in ways he could never have anticipated. Lockdowns eliminated tourism in Las Vegas, and detailing appointments, which relied heavily on in-person service and customer interactions, disappeared almost overnight. He struggled financially during this period, openly acknowledging the stress and anxiety of watching a livelihood he had built from scratch crumble due to forces entirely beyond his control. But financial hardship was only the beginning of the nightmare. Reports later confirmed his passing, sending genuine shockwaves through the Counting Cars fan community, which had followed his journey from Hungary to reality television to becoming a small business owner. The exact date of death has been kept private by those close to him, and family members declined to release extensive details about the circumstances. His loss represents one of the saddest chapters in the show's extended history. A beloved personality whose life ended far too soon, away from cameras and spotlights, and mourned quietly by those who remembered his smile and his passion. Roli's death was a shock to the fan community, but another cast member's passing hit even closer to home for the shop's daily operations. Scott Jones. He appeared in only 2 episodes between 2012 and 2013, yet his brief screen time left an impression that dedicated fans never forgot. Working as the shop's manager and bookkeeper, he was the financial voice of reason, who wasn't afraid to push back against spending decisions with blunt, unfiltered honesty. On camera, that bluntness occasionally sparked heated disagreements, but the subtext was always clear to anyone paying attention. He genuinely cared about the financial health of Count's Kustoms, and he refused to stay silent when he believed the business was heading in a dangerous direction. viewers immediately respected a man who would rather lose an argument to save the company money than stay quiet to stay popular. In a reality TV landscape filled with yes men and manufactured drama, his authenticity cut through the noise. His departure from the show was refreshingly drama-free compared to the scandals and blow-ups that typically mark reality TV exits. He left between the second and third seasons after the birth of his son, deliberately relocating his family to Tennessee for a quieter, more grounded life far from the relentless energy of Las Vegas. The third season premiere briefly mentioned his move, confirming that he had chosen fatherhood over television exposure. Unlike cast members who leveraged their 15 minutes of fame into merchandise lines and social media followings, he maintained absolutely zero online presence after leaving. Rumors later suggested he opened a small automotive shop in Greenville, Tennessee, where he could continue his passion for cars while focusing on raising his child. Still, confirmation of those rumors remained nearly impossible to obtain. For years, fans assumed he was simply living off-camera peacefully, turning wrenches on his own terms and watching his son grow up. Then reports surfaced confirming his passing, and the news landed with quiet devastation. The exact date and cause of death have not been publicly released, with family members requesting complete and total privacy during their grieving process. The announcement closed the book on one of the show's most intriguing short-term personalities. This man walked away from television fame without a backward glance to prioritize his son, only to leave this world far too early for anyone who cared about him. The Counting Cars community's response was subdued but heartfelt. Quiet grief from those who remembered his 2 episodes and deeply respected the values he stood for during his brief moment in the spotlight. A manager lost too soon, but death didn't stop at the accounting office. It reached directly into Danny Koker's tightest inner circle next. Kevin Mack. He served as Danny's right-hand man and best friend for over 2 decades by the time the series premiere aired in 2012, and that bond was impossible to fake, no matter how skilled the show's editors might have been. Appearing in 7 episodes between 2013 and 2014, his role was largely behind the scenes, involving vehicle pickups that required cross-state travel, test drives on freshly completed builds, and logistical operations that kept the shop's daily workflow moving smoothly without the cameras ever needing to acknowledge the complexity involved. Despite limited screen time, viewers immediately noticed the natural chemistry he shared with Danny. Their connection wasn't manufactured for television drama. It was real, built on years of working side by side, sharing road trips and meeting impossible deadlines together long before producers ever arrived at the shop door. His professionalism distinguished him from louder, more camera-hungry personalities on the show. When he appeared on camera, he focused entirely on the task at hand, never playing for laughs or engaging in the scripted conflicts that reality television thrives upon. He didn't need the spotlight, and he didn't seem to want it. That quiet competence earned him deep, genuine respect from fans who valued substance over spectacle and reliability over theatrics. When he suddenly vanished from the series with no on-air explanation and no farewell episode to give closure, speculation erupted across fan forums and social media threads. Some blamed scheduling conflicts that made filming impossible. Others assumed he simply preferred life outside the reality television fishbowl and chose to reclaim his privacy. He kept his personal life carefully guarded, refusing to publicly explain why he stepped away from the cameras, letting the mystery build rather than feeding the rumor mill. Then came the confirmation of his death, and the details that followed were heartbreakingly scarce. His family chose to grieve privately rather than issue public statements, or engage with the media attention that inevitably followed. This silence left fans with more questions than answers, but it also reflected the same private, dignified approach that had defined his approach to life and work. Danny Koker has never discussed the loss at length on camera, and those close to the situation suggest he likely never will. But people who know the inner workings of the shop describe the impact as profound and deeply personal, a wound that doesn't heal easily. He wasn't just an employee or a television sidekick. He was the trusted lieutenant that successful leaders build their entire careers around. The person you call at 3 a.m. when everything goes wrong, and you need someone who won't ask questions, just show up. His death remains one of the more mysterious losses in the Counting Cars universe, shrouded in the same deliberate privacy that defined his entire approach to life, both on and off camera. The shop lost its operational backbone, but an even more technically irreplaceable mind was about to leave a void no one else could fill. Joseph Doc Dugen. Known universally by his nickname, this technology specialist was the resident mad scientist who dragged classic cars, kicking and screaming, into the modern era, whether they were ready or not. He appeared regularly from 2012 through the show's 2021 conclusion, establishing himself as the undisputed go-to expert for electronics, engine tuning, and computer diagnostics. When a client wanted GPS navigation hidden inside a 1960s dashboard without a single visible wire or electronic fuel injection installed on a vintage muscle car that was never designed for modern engine management, he stepped forward. At the same time, traditional mechanics took a respectful step back. They knew their limits. He knew how to exceed them. His approach treated vehicles like patients, requiring precise, methodical diagnosis rather than simple brute force wrench work. He introduced sophisticated fuel injection upgrades, advanced audio systems that integrated seamlessly with vintage interiors, and custom wiring harnesses that vanished behind factory panels, leaving no trace that modern technology had ever been installed. His ability to merge 21st-century computer systems with 50-year-old platforms became a defining feature of the shop's most ambitious high-end builds, the projects that other shops would have turned away as impossible. On camera, he approached challenges with analytical precision that bordered on obsession, often clashing philosophically with old-school fabricators who preferred carburetors to circuit boards and distrusted anything they couldn't adjust with a screwdriver. Those debates made for compelling television, but they also revealed a mind that simply operated on a different technical level than everyone else in the building. After Counting Cars concluded its final season, he relocated to Wichita, Kansas, establishing Nexus Performance and Repair as his own independent venture. His new shop specialized in high-performance engine builds, advanced diagnostic services, custom electrical systems, and the maddening electronic gremlins that terrify ordinary mechanics who lack his particular skill set. He maintained an active social media presence during this period, connecting with loyal fans who had admired his methodical work on the show for nearly a decade, sharing updates on complex builds, and occasionally offering technical insights that only someone with his depth of experience could provide. Then, reports confirmed his passing, and the automotive community reacted with stunned, collective shock. Details about the cause and exact date remain private, respected by family members who requested space to process an overwhelming loss away from public scrutiny. His death left a gaping void in the niche world of classic car modernization, a discipline where his particular genius, that rare combination of old-school mechanical understanding and cutting-edge technical knowledge, was genuinely rare and nearly impossible to replace. No one else at the shop could do what he did, and that absence continues to be felt. The shop lost its most analytical mind when Doc passed, and next, it lost its most wildly creative soul. Michael "Horny Mike" Henry. He stood out immediately during the show's early seasons, a flamboyant airbrush artist whose larger-than-life personality contrasted sharply with the shop's more stoic fabricators and mechanics who preferred to let their work speak for itself. His nickname came from his signature obsession: three-dimensional horns attached to absolutely everything that sat still long enough, including helmets, bumpers, toolboxes, coffee makers, and even items that had nothing to do with cars. What some dismissive observers dismissed as a quirky gimmick was actually a stroke of accidental marketing genius. His distinctive aesthetic made his work instantly identifiable at car shows and on merchandise, carving a unique, unmistakable niche within the custom automotive world that no one else dared to occupy or even attempt to replicate. But underneath the theatrical presentation and the horn-adorned persona lay legitimate battle-tested skills. His airbrush techniques were real and developed through years of hands-on practice and experimentation. Before joining Count's Kustoms, he had already built a solid reputation in automotive art circles throughout the Southwest, and his background was deeply rooted in hands-on custom painting that required patience and precision. His peak creations on the show demonstrated serious technical ability beneath the surface-level spectacle. The green, horny bus, a GMC school bus, transformed into a rolling horned art installation that defied conventional automotive aesthetics, and the jaw-dropper motorcycle, with its animatronic elements and towering horn structures, blurred the line between functional vehicle and legitimate rolling art sculpture. These weren't quick, easy projects done for a laugh. They were marathon builds that required genuine artistic vision and engineering problem-solving. After Counting Cars concluded in 2021, he stayed highly active in the custom automotive scene rather than fading into obscurity. He sold branded merchandise through his own channels, including caps, shirts, and his signature 3D printed horns, which let fans bring a piece of his aesthetic home. He maintained a consistent, enthusiastic presence at automotive events across the country, interacting with fans, selling custom pieces, and sharing updates on ongoing projects and workshops. Fans fully expected to see him thriving indefinitely in the custom culture ecosystem for decades to come. Still, wandering car shows, still attaching horns to anything that stayed stationary for more than a few seconds, and still bringing that unpredictable creative energy wherever he went. Then came the devastating announcement of his death, and the custom automotive world paused in collective disbelief. Exact details have been withheld by family members who requested privacy during an unimaginably difficult time. Still, the loss reverberated through the entire car and motorcycle community almost instantly. The man who brought so much unexpected laughter, vibrant color, and unapologetic weirdness to the shop floor was suddenly gone, and the silence he left behind felt deafening to those who had known him. His signature horns, once quirky accessories that made viewers smile and shake their heads in amusement, transformed overnight into memorial symbols for grieving fans who never got the chance to say goodbye. And finally, the most devastating blow of all, a death that shook the entire Count's Kustoms Foundation and left Danny Koker facing a loss no amount of horsepower could outrun. Ryan Evans. Across 96 episodes from 2012 through 2020, he was the constant presence, the head painter and graphic artist whose work defined the show's visual identity and whose personality shaped its internal dynamics. Viewers knew him for his dramatic on-screen clashes with Danny Koker, his volcanic perfectionist rants about build quality that erupted when standards slipped, and his undeniable artistic talent that turned raw metal and bare fiberglass into rolling masterpieces. He was the show's conflict engine, the guy who would blow up over a missed deadline or a sloppy paint job, not because he craved drama for the cameras, but because he genuinely and deeply cared about maintaining the shop's hard-won reputation at the highest possible level. Excellence wasn't negotiable for him, and he made sure everyone in the building knew it. Underneath that explosive television persona lived a dedicated family man whose private world bore little resemblance to his on-screen persona. He was married to Dana Pauly, became a committed stepfather to her son, Logan, and maintained quiet, loving relationships with 2 children from a previous relationship. When glimpses of his home life surfaced in rare interviews or carefully curated social media posts, they reinforced an image completely at odds with the hot-tempered artist fans watched argue and storm around the shop floor. He was grounded, private, and fiercely protective of the people he loved, drawing a hard line between the television character he played and the husband and father he actually was. His estimated $1 million net worth reflected a career built entirely on craftsmanship and artistic integrity, not celebrity endorsements or shortcuts. Unlike some cast members who chased every opportunity for more camera time, he never seemed interested in fame for its own sake. When Counting Cars wrapped its final season, he retreated fully and completely from the spotlight without fanfare or farewell tours. He didn't chase spin-off shows, merchandise deals, or social media fame. He didn't launch a YouTube channel or start selling branded products. He prioritized what had always mattered most beneath the television noise: his wife, his kids, and the quiet sanctuary of his home garage, where he could build beautiful cars without deadlines or production schedules. Fans respected the choice completely, assuming he would quietly create stunning automotive art and live a long, peaceful life, far from the pressure of History Channel cameras and the relentless demands of reality television production. It seemed like the perfect ending to his story. Then the unthinkable happened, and the Counting Cars world shattered in response. His death was confirmed through family representatives who acknowledged the devastating loss while keeping specific details regarding cause and exact date closely guarded from public consumption. Danny Koker, usually stoic and unflappable on camera and in public appearances, was reportedly devastated in private, struggling to process a loss that transcended a professional relationship. He had been more than a castmate or an employee. He was a creative family, a brother in grease and paint, who had stood beside Danny through nearly a decade of television pressure, impossible deadlines, creative disagreements that ended in mutual respect, and the unique, unbreakable bond that forms between people who build impossible machines together day after day, year after year. Which Counting Cars cast members passing affected you the most? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.